together. So for my latest project, I'm going to be making something for my nephew, aka the chipmunk. I played Commander Keen with him recently and he is now absolutely mad about it, so I made him this little Robo Red out of female, which, I mean, it has a lot of flaws, but he absolutely loves it, so I'm not going to complain. So what I thought I could make for him was a little backdrop for him to play, like a little playset. So this is what I have so far. This is going to be made out of paper mache, and there's the little Robo Red's going to be in there. So this is made from an old cardboard box, and I have the worst masking tape in the world, as you can see there. It's absolutely hopeless. I mean, look at that. This is made from an old cardboard box, and I've double layered this bit. I should probably double layer the rest of it. The problem with paper mache is it has a tendency to warp a lot. So right now this is fairly straight, but I think after a couple of rounds of paper mache it's going to end up quite wonky. What I was thinking is maybe I could just stuff the back of that with newspaper, and that might help to give it a little bit more stability, but we'll see. Also, paper mache, you might not know this, paper mache is remarkably strong. It's absolutely crazy how strong it is. I actually made a bench once for the kids, and I can fit myself and the 2 kids on it, so that's going to be a good 80 plus kilograms, and it can actually support the weight of all 3 of us. So yeah, paper mache is actually great. It's very, very sustainable if you use the flour paste, old newspapers and water. Anyway, that was your fun fact for today. This time I will probably just use a PVA based paper mache mixture because it's just a lot faster. I do normally use the cooked flour paste method, which is a lot more economical, but I prefer to do that for bigger projects. It takes a lot of effort and it is more likely to go mouldy. So there you go, Robo Red. We'll see you at the next stage. Alright, so this is what I have. So I've stuffed the inside with some newspaper. I have no idea if this is going to work. It worked on my dagger bar, but that was a very different kind of model, so I have no idea if it's going to work here. I've got my diluted PVA mixed up here, and I've got my strips of paper, and let's see if this actually works. Right, so here's the back after several layers of paper mache. So you see the front, still got to do that. So overall I think it hasn't come out too bad. It's slightly bumpy, but it's the back, so I'm not really too bothered. And obviously didn't do a very good job here because you can see how distorted that's become. But overall I think it's okay. So I'm going to leave this to dry, and then once that's done I'm going to start working on the front, and hopefully I can keep the front nice and smooth. I'm just going to pop the fan on there. The good thing about paper mache with PVA rather than flour is it actually does dry a lot faster. So that means there's less time for it to warp. So let's stick the fan on there, and once that's done I'm going to start working on the front. Alright, so now it's time to move on to the front of the project. Okay, so I'm probably going to leave it here just for now, partly because I've run out of glue and also I've just had enough for today. Just to let you know, for some tutorials you might have seen advice saying that when you do paper mache you have to let the first layer dry completely before you add the second layer, and that's absolute nonsense because the moment you add the second layer, the first layer will just get wet anyway. So you feel free to do all your layers in one go. I've just had enough for today. Just make sure that you do let it dry completely before you paint it, so when it feels dry, leave it for another day before you paint it, because you don't want any damp in there because that will make it go mouldy. So yeah, this is what I have. Oops, sticking to the paper. That's the back, and that's what I have on the front so far. So I'm going to leave that overnight, let it dry, see how hard it is, see if it needs any more layers, and then just touch up all these little loose bits that still need to be pasted down. And yeah, and then we'll see how it looks tomorrow. Alrighty, so here we have it the next day. And this is kind of spongy still, so my idea didn't really work as well as I thought. But this is the back, no one's going to see it, so who cares. So with the front, big brain right there, I actually missed a spot. so the front could do maybe a couple more layers. We'll skip that and we'll go straight to the next stage. Okay, here we are, another several rounds of paper mache later. So in the end I did actually use the cooked flour paste because I felt like I wasn't really getting very far with the glue. So here we are, and I've actually sanded that down so it's a lot smoother. You can see there is a lot of distortion at the back now. You sort of see how that's warped down there. This bit is just, and it's still kind of spongy, but I've said the back doesn't matter too much because we're going to just be seeing that side. So yeah, overall it's okay, and I've got a little side project here as well. So I'm making a corner shelf out of paper mache again, so I've done that again with the paste, and then I've just sanded that down to smooth out the creases, and then I've got the little things here which I'm going to sort of fix up and use that to attach that to the wall. Right, so the next stage is to do a white base coat, and then we're going to have to start looking at decorating it, and this is going to be the hard part. So rather annoyingly, after I started applying the paint to it, the paper mache started getting this really horrible bubbling on it. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick that up, but it did used to be smooth and it's now very bumpy. I don't really think I've got the inclination to do anything about it, so we're going to have to just work with it as it is. So here we are, finally at the decorating stage. Hooray! Oh, if I included every single time that I screwed up, this would be a very, very long video. So initially I ended up adding a little bit too much red to the yellow paint, so I had to basically cover up my orange coat with another layer, or another several layers of yellow paint, which was a bit of a disaster because I was running low on yellow paint at the time. Anyway, we are finally here. We've got the yellow base coat in. We're doing the stripes, which was very tedious. I don't have a steady hand at the best of times, and I tried using a dotting tool, but for some reason I'm just not good with the dotting tool, so in the end I ended up having to use my regular paintbrush. Right, so here I am adding some cerulean paint, which I've just lightened with quite a lot of white, and it's very obvious from here just how uneven the surface of the project is, and again how unsteady my hand is. Okay, so now I'm painting the inside. This part was tricky again because of the shape, made it hard to reach certain parts, certain corners, and also again my hand is not very steady, plus I did have to cover up black paint with a lighter colour, which wasn't as bad as I thought it would be because the white paint that I used to lighten the cerulean paint was actually pretty opaque, so it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think 2 layers was really enough. Okay, here's what I have after lots of touch-ups. So this is the front. And I realised afterwards I actually got this bit wrong. That's supposed to just be plain cyan across there, but it's alright. So it's not perfect, there are a lot of mistakes, there are a lot of wobbly lines here, but I think it looks alright. I'm happy with how it came out. So I'm actually quite relieved there wasn't a total disaster. The back is, I mean, you know, the back. No one's going to look at the back, like I said, it doesn't matter. So the next thing I need to do is I need to get all the backdrop in. I need to get a door in this section here, and I had the bright idea of actually putting in some LEDs. So in the original there's a red light here and a red light sort of around here, but the thing is, obviously I've done all the paper mache, I've done the painting. My plan was that I could maybe drill a hole here and then another one through the back, and then I could sort of thread the light through, but I have a feeling it isn't going to work. So I might just have to put the light here and then just sort of paint over it in the hope of disguising the wires. And I was thinking maybe I could put a little green LED here as well where the key gem goes. But okay, I have no idea if that's going to work. But so far, I'd say I'm on track, and it's looking in the direction of being a success. Oh, by the way, I found these in the works. So you get 500 mils of acrylic paint, because I was down to my last bottle of yellow paint, so I got this 2 for £10. Fortunately they do not sell magenta paint because no one seems to want to sell magenta paint anymore. I have the one sheet which I got from Wilco about 2-3 years ago. They've discontinued it. No one seems to sell magenta paint even though it's a primary colour. Very frustrating. But yeah, I've got my cyan and I've got my yellow, and now I'm going to have to go on the hunt for magenta. So anyway, next thing, I need to get the backdrop and I need to start working on the door here. Now in the original picture it is literally just sort of a red border and a blue door, but I was thinking of doing something a little bit different. I kind of want the door to be removable. So that's the next stage and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so in the end I decided that making the door slide in and out was just way more trouble than it's worth, so I'm just going to do it very simply. So I've got the plastic there and I'm just going to glue that on. did wrong. Okay, so to get use some isopropanol to get rid of the glue residue. Let's try sticking it in again. I hope I don't mess up this time. I think I'm overexposed. This is terrible. Let's get it looking good from the front. Dun dun dun! So it's finally finished after goodness knows how long I've been working on this. It isn't perfect, but I never expected it to be. So for the back, what I did was got a couple of pieces of card, I had to tape those together, wasn't big enough. And then I had to use 3 sheets of A5 paper to print out the background here. And as you can see, for some reason I used the same settings, but the printer did a different colour balance. So I've got 3 sheets there, this sort of seam here, so I think it could be seamless, but it didn't turn out to be so. I used some bamboo skewers to make the little holes there, and then I just did the photo printer, used the photo printer to make the graphics from the game, and I've used some foam pads to give it a bit of height. So I've used like double layer foam pads there, 3 for this to make it stick out a bit more, and then just a single for all the others. The door came out a little bit too small. So yeah, it's tiny. It should have been up to at least sort of that height there. And I've added a few extra bonuses in there. So we've got ammo, chocolate milk, and some Vitamin bars, and then the keg vitamin in there. I've still got to put the lighting in, but I'm waiting for someone to send me the lights. So I don't know when that's going to be. So for the back, I've just had to hold that in with photo corners for now. Can't really see the good lighting. And it's not doing a very good job. Got some masking tape in there. That's just so I can remove it when I need to put the lights in. I probably won't bother to drill the holes. I'll just stick the lights here and hope I can disguise the wires with some acrylic paint. Hope I don't end up damaging the lights in the process. So there you are. That's the stage. See, I'm really happy with it, and I hope my nephew will be happy with it too. Thanks for watching.